Thinking about a Hawaiian vacation, but don't want to leave the Disney magic behind? We have got you covered. Today, we'll explore how you can add a touch of Disney to your trip.
You're listening to Castle Talk Radio. We're live on the airwaves with Becca and Jessica. Now let's jump into this week's episode.
Whether you're visiting Aulani, searching for Disney-inspired treats, or bringing a little Disney fun along for the ride.
Yep, and most importantly, we want you to know that we promote mindful tourism. This means planning in advance and keeping a commitment to respect the Hawaiian culture and the land itself during your vacation. Now, if you don't recognize that voice, I'm chatting with Marcy from Hawaii Travel with Kids as a part of our summer series here at Castle Talk Radio. So, Marcy, we have known each other for a long time, and we even have intersecting Hawaii things. Family that both live there and know each other, of course. But tell us a little bit about your background with the Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah, you bet. So I started visiting Hawaii when I was 10 years old because my grandma split her time between Seattle and Kauai. And since then, I've been back more than 40 times. My mom currently lives there. She's a wedding officiant, and that's how she knows your family. And I have been a professional hula dancer in the past. I have taught baby wearing hula classes. I have my Hawaii Travel with Kids blog that I've had for several years. And I just launched a podcast called Hawaii Travel Made Easy. And so I'm just really excited to share all of my tips and tricks with other families out there who are planning maybe their first trip to Hawaii, or maybe it's their fifth trip.
Yes. I've been going to Hawaii forever since my family lives there as well. I lived there for a little bit. As actually in fourth grade when we studied Hawaiian history, and looking into that even more as an adult with a more global view has been really eye-opening. So we definitely want to keep that in mind as we talk about Hawaii. And there are a lot of Disney elements into it. So I think that's why you can expand upon the things that you love about Disney and see kind of that side of Hawaii, but also see Hawaii for what it is authentically, and just the spirit and the joy that those islands bring, which is something that I almost can't describe. Because it feels, I guess land is alive, but it feels alive. And we hope that if you are considering a trip to Hawaii, that this will help you just kind of get started in moving in the right direction. So let's talk first about finding a little bit of Disney magic in Hawaii, which again, Hawaii doesn't need any Disney at all. It's magical in itself. But what are some things that people think of or that you know of?
That are special to Hawaii? Is that what you're asking?
A little bit of Disney and Hawaii. Where's the intersection?
Totally. Well, obviously the Aulani Resort right on Oahu, I think is what most people think of because there's so many Disney elements there. And I know we'll chat about that a little bit later. It's also the filming site for a lot of movies. So like Lilo and Stitch, both the live action that's coming out, but also the animated one from long ago. That's set in Hawaii. There's Moana that's not technically set in Hawaii, but in Polynesia. But I mean, you can see a lot of that. People are constantly looking for Moana when they take their trips to Hawaii. And so many other movies and TV shows. And there's a lot of ways to, I think, recognize things from lots of Disney movies.
Yeah, I think that's really a fun part. Now, you mentioned Aulani, which I've been to one time. And let's talk about that, because that's the key thing. Some people hear about it and they think, oh, there's actually a Disney theme park in Hawaii. Or tell us what it is and what makes it special.
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely not a theme park. I hear that all the time too. A lot of people say, oh, well, and then we'll do a park day at Aulani. And I was like, hang on a second. It's just a Disney resort, but it's pretty amazing. We've been there a few times, and I love how it weaves in Hawaiian culture pretty seamlessly into the decor, the ambiance, the food, the entertainment, kind of everything. And there's also great customer service that you expect from Disney. And you really feel like you're on vacation. I feel like they they take a lot of the stress out of your trip. So it is like a resort vacation. It doesn't feel like you're doing a lot on your own. Another thing that I really like about Aulani is they have a lot of different room layouts. So depending on how large your family is, you're going to find a room that is comfortable, whether it is, several bedrooms or like a typical hotel room. So I do like that, and that they have different price points, which also helps for families. And I think what makes it so special, in my opinion, are the characters. I mean, I geek out every time I see Disney characters, but at Aulani, they're dressed up like they're on a Hawaiian vacation, which is just, it's so cool. Plus, they have characters like Stitch and Angel, which are pretty recognizable, but they even have Duffy, who is huge in Japan. We just got back from Tokyo Disney, and Duffy is huge, and Olu, his siege girlfriend. Yes. And so they do have rare appearances at Aulani. So for those of us that kind of geek out to see rare or, unique characters, Aulani is a great place to do that.
Yeah. And one thing to know is that if you're not staying at Aulani, you can book a character meal there to meet some of them. You cannot use like the pool and things like that, but beaches are public. So if you have paid for parking or access to parking nearby, you're able to use that as well. Tell me about some more Disney touches throughout the islands. We talked a little bit about like movies and locations, but what else do you have to share there?
Absolutely. So I have been obsessed with Lilo and Stitch since it came out. I learned the hula dance that she did in the movie, and I performed that at my college luau, like totally obsessed. And so for those who don't know, Lilo and Stitch is actually set in Hanapepe, Kauai, which is this tiny little town that is adorable. And you can visit it. And what's extra cool is that they have a Lilo and Stitch mural set up, which is always fun for photos, but also just to remind you that this is a real place. And, it's not some make-believe Disney place. Like, it's a real place located on Kauai. So you can go visit that, which is cool. And they even have a shop there that has some hard-to-find Stitch merchandise. My son spent quite a long time searching for very specific things that I have never seen before, which is pretty cool. Also, if you go to the Big Island, in Hilo Town, a lot of kind of like the vibe of downtown Hilo also inspired scenes from Lilo and Stitch. So when you see any of those town scenes, like, yes, it's sort of Hanapepe, but it really looks like Hilo. So if you kind of want that small town Hawaii vibe, that's another cool place to go. And then I want to say Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, not because it's like directly, Disney, but if you are fans of Moana, you'll totally appreciate the landscape, which has like the Te Fiti, Te Ka, like a volcanic aesthetic going on. Plus, it's a good opportunity to chat with your kids about the real life lava goddess Pele, who inspired elements of the film. And so it's really cool to kind of connect the movie to actual Hawaiian and Polynesian mythology.
That's so cool. And I think just opening that door for the little ones, something that they already like or that they have seen, and then remind them that this is a real place, a real culture that this was built off of, and then teaching those real concepts that come from the Hawaiian culture and connect it. That's really smart because it makes it also educational without them maybe even noticing, and just knowing that this came first. The Hawaiian Islands came first. Then they made entertainment based off of those things. So let's respect like where that really comes from and stuff like that. And teaching your kids that as you're traveling, or maybe you're going without kids and you want to revisit those things, like let's critically think about that. Like, how does media play into the things that we know about Hawaii and what is actually true and accurate and stuff like that? So that kind of goes into the next thing, is ways to incorporate that Disney without taking away from the Hawaiian culture, because that is front and center. And we have done a disservice to not in our society to not magnify that more. Like, there's just so much to explore and so much that we haven't learned about it yet. So let's talk about not overpowering that with Disney. So I don't know, what's your take?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if anyone is familiar, like with Lilo and Stitch or any of the TV shows or movies set in Hawaii, they usually bring in some kind of Hawaiian element, and so I think that that's really it's a good opportunity to maybe try foods you've never tried before that are either actually Hawaiian or have been brought to Hawaii because Hawaii is a melting pot of cultures. And so it's really important to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit and try new things to kind of, I always feel like food is like the easiest way to embrace a culture. Also, there are so many opportunities to see hula dancing, Polynesian dancing, to hear local musicians. There's so many ways to kind of bring that in a really easy way, and just honestly talking to people. People in Hawaii are usually pretty friendly and open to sharing about culture and their experiences living in Hawaii and stuff. And so I think it's just always nice to chat with people about stuff like that.
I love that. And it also just now, like thinking about the connection of like, we're here probably listening to Castle Talk Radio because you're a Disney fan and we talk about different Disney destinations and the different castles and theme parks. And now we're jumping over to the Pacific Islands and talking about Aulani. But the main thing that Disney does is at the core of the company is they are storytellers. Mm-hmm. And that is a fantastic connection to the Hawaiian culture because their culture has been shared through storytelling, through hula, which tells a story. And it was definitely like audio history, verbal history, and things like that we now have written down. And that is just another beautiful element to kind of connect things that you already know into that Hawaiian culture. So if you are wanting to bring even more Disney into your trip, what are some respectful ways you can bring that Disney elements like character outfits or themed luau's, especially when you're at Aulani?
Absolutely. Well, Aulani makes it so easy to incorporate the two, I think. They have a lot of arts and craft opportunities. So like in the Pauhana room, they have art projects that would be like a kapa stamping, which would be stamping on like what they would normally do on like bark cloth. There's also lei making. There are activities like that where it's really easy to be in a Disney environment and doing Hawaiian arts and crafts. You can also wear mini ears with your aloha wear. So you kind of can mix the two. And I see that a lot out at Aulani. A lot of people do the Lilo and Stitch ears or Moana ears or Stitch, I guess. And then they make their own ears. And Aulani has that opportunity, but you can also just do it on your own where you can put tropical flowers. And you can be wearing your aloha shirt or aloha dress and kind of mix the two together. And then I've also seen people take their Stitch stuffies and take them to either like pretty places on Oahu or around the resort and kind of feature Stitch. And I saw it a lot when we were in Tokyo recently. So I wonder if maybe that's where the trend came from. But people have like the cutest little characters and they can like just set them where it looks like Stitch is just like hanging out at the beach. And I think that that's a really fun way, like a fun little project to do as you're exploring Hawaii.
That's super cute. Yeah. Bringing your little character, even if it's not Stitch, like, cause kids often have that little security type of thing and they want to bring that around. That's super, super cute. I love that. And you have mentioned like being in Tokyo, and there's so much of a melting pot in Hawaii. There's a lot of Japanese influence. And even when you were talking about the food too, as a little girl, when I lived there, I tried sushi for the first time because that's what they served at my friend's birthday party. And it's just, it does, especially when you're on vacation, it does give you a chance to try something out. And you could even use the characters as an example, like, Lilo would probably try this because she lives in Hawaii and this is so common. Everybody likes to eat this and you might want to try it just like Lilo.
Yes, exactly.
So let's just get into a little bit more about Hawaii itself. I'm going to do like a quick Q&A I'm going to throw at you, like rapid answers. What is your favorite Hawaiian island?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think they're all so different. I want to say Kauai only because we go there all the time and I have great memories there. But I'm really starting to love the Big Island, just
Okay.
because my kids are older and we can do more stuff there.
Ooh, that's really cool. Yeah. So I have been to most all of them and you as well.
Mhm.
Um, and I always say like Kauai, Maui, Kauai, because like my family's there, I live there.
Right.
Maui, because it's just like a little bit notch up of Kauai in like activity and like,
Yeah.
yeah, hard to explain, but only done the Big Island once. So I can see how that would be like something you want to keep going back to.
Mhm.
And Aulani is on the island of Oahu. If you're not familiar with the Hawaiian Islands, that's also where Honolulu is, where you fly into most of the time, Waikiki Beach, the most populated Hawaiian island, things like that. Give us some more tips about visiting the Hawaiian Islands. That's just important in travel in general because there's some
Totally.
different things too.
Yeah, so I have way more tips than we have time for, but I'll try to just pick a few of them. I would say a lot of people try to see all of the islands in their 1 week in Hawaii. I strongly urge people not to do that because island hopping involves going to the regular airport and you're taking an inter island flight. And so you still need to get there a couple hours ahead of time. You're returning a rental car, you're getting a rental car, you're checking into a new hotel or condo. All of that eats up time in your vacation. So personally, I always recommend at least 5 to 7 days per island. So if you're going for 10 days, yes, you can do a split stay. But if you're going for, 7 days, 5 days, do not try to do more than one island. Just be there and enjoy. And then for Oahu specifically, I always do a split stay when I stay at Aulani. I usually go to spend the first half in Waikiki or somewhere else on the island. And that's when I do all of my adventuring. I do my tours. I, go out and explore and I'm eating all the food and I'm doing all the stuff. And then I end my trip at Aulani because I'm just going to hunker down at the hotel and enjoy all of the amenities and just really relax for my trip. And so I always suggest that. But I do understand if people are DVC members that it might make more financial sense just to stay there the whole time. And in that case, I would still say plan on spending a few days outside of the resort. Otherwise, you're not really seeing Oahu, and that is a missed opportunity. And I also suggest people try Hawaiian food. I know I mentioned this before, but even like if you don't normally like Spam, like you should definitely try Spam musubi just to see what all the fuss is about. And it's prepared differently than other Spam that you might have had in the past. So I feel like that's always worth a try. Definitely try a Hawaiian plate lunch somewhere. That is 2 scoops of rice, a scoop of macaroni salad, and then some sort of protein. I always get whatever the biggest combo is, like kalbi and kalua pork and whatever. And those are so easy to share with your family where you can get like 2 plate lunches for your family of like 4 or 5, and everyone can try a little bit of everything and decide what you like. And then I guess my last tip would be if you're able, I always recommend hiring a professional photographer when you go to Hawaii because everybody is typically in a good mood. I suggest booking it earlier in your trip before anyone possibly is sunburned. And especially if you go early in your trip, there's probably the jet lag so that you could do an early morning shoot, which is always nice with the sunrise. But it's like a great opportunity to get really nice photos of your family when they're in a good mood, you're on vacation. You probably aren't going to remember any other souvenir that you pick up during your trip. You will never forget your photos. You can put them on your wall. You can have them on your phone. You can put them on Instagram, whatever. And every time you look back, you're going to remember your whole trip. So I always recommend that.
I love that tip. And that's something I've shared with so many people from you. We did that when we went to a family trip in Paris and just hired a photographer. One of the ways that I found it was just like searching hashtags on Instagram for like Hawaii photographer, or obviously for us, it was Paris photographer. And then I was able to look through all these different photographers and their styles. Yeah. Then I was able to go through like booking and stuff like that. But having those pictures, such a great souvenir, such well money spent, money
Oh,
well
yeah.
spent. And a couple other like quick things on the top of my mind since I'm getting ready to go, and like I have stuff just like in a pile off to the side here of like that's coming with me. Mineral-based sunscreen. We want to take care of those reefs because we love the ocean and we love the marine life. Mineral-based sunscreen is different. You probably aren't going to like it. So we have tried several different ones before our trips. We have put them on our children and say, like, this is what it feels like. This is what it's going to look like, because we're going to be using this while we're there, because that's what they ask of you. And other thing that I just really notice and realize as well, like to be a responsible tourist, is just to not buy all the stuff up at Costco and then gift it or leave it.
Yes.
Gifting and leaving, those are two different things, right?
Yes.
If you're gifting your beach chairs and the umbrellas and stuff that you bought, like make sure it's going to someone. Don't just leave it, because this becomes litter on the beach and this becomes trash. And where does the trash go? The landfills on the island. It's limited resources, and we want to take care of those resources so that we can keep coming back, so that people that live there are happy to have us back. So let's be good consumers and good visitors. Anything else?
I would say along with that, just be prepared to spend money. I think that a lot of people, I know budgets are tight and people go to Hawaii and they're trying to save as much money as possible. And I totally get that. But most of the people in Hawaii, I mean, a lot of people work several jobs, but a lot of them are in the tourism industry, and they really need you to come and eat at the restaurants, book tours, go to luau's, tip, just all of those things that I know a lot of people try to see what the cheapest way that they can do Hawaii. But these people are relying on that income. And if you're coming and buying up a bunch of stuff at Costco and then just leaving it, hoping somebody else is going to throw it away for you or dispose of it. And a lot of things are spoiled. I see all these Facebook posts where people are putting, perishable foods or frozen foods or things that need to be refrigerated. They're like, oh, it's outside my hotel door. Like anyone's welcome to it. And I'm like, no, you've just add cleaning staff. You've asked them to dispose of your stuff, because by the time someone sees that post, your stuff is spoiled. And so I just always suggest that people budget that in, to spend money, because it's a lot on the islands to host all of these tourists.
Yes, definitely. And let's keep that magic going, right? We're talking about Disney vacations. We're talking about those elements and traveling to Hawaii. So bring that with you as well, right? Bring that energy with you, bring that vibe, and take everything back home with you. Keep things clean, and let's be good guests, because these are beautiful, beautiful locations that you need to visit. And of course, you need to go to Marcy's website. So tell us again your website and your podcast, because anyone going to Hawaii, and I use it myself, that we talk a lot. Anytime a trip's coming up for me, because I kind of go twice a year, and I still have questions, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So my website is hawaiitravelwithkids.com. And I have a lot of posts. I think there's 700 posts on there. Lots of information. I also sell Hawaii travel guides, and I have half of them are specific for families to know what is actually doable with kids. There's 7-day itineraries. I have island hopping guides. I have all kinds of stuff, and you can find that on my website. I also sell hard copies on Amazon if people are looking for those. And then my new podcast is Hawaii Travel Made Easy. And you can find that on all of the major sites. You can find it on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, everywhere, Amazon. And I just basically, all the episodes are between 20 and 40 minutes. And I just kind of go over some of the top things people need to know before their trips.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marcy, for being here. And thank you for listening to Castle Talk Radio and our summer series. Of course, you can also book Hawaii and Aulani through our link, getawaytoday.com/Castle Talk. We'd love to take you over to the islands, and hopefully I'll see you around there, especially us two. That would be so fun if we were there at the same time. Thanks, and see you real soon.
You've been listening to Castle Talk Radio. For exclusive discounts on tickets and hotels, free guides, and to listen to past episodes, visit castletalkradio.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Castle Talk with Becca and Jessica.